Hello and welcome to my Weird Diaries. This is my first vlog in my Weird Diaries. So, what happened is that I have recently attended a wedding ceremony, and it was a mehndi that was arranged at a home. And you know that the mehendis that are arranged at Desi household mehndi, it comprises of pre-mehndi festivities and then the actual mehndi ceremony that comprises of songs and dancing and halla gulla and all. And I have always loved mehndi. I used to say that even if you're not going to call me on Barat, call me on mehndi, because that was the fun part. But this time when I went there, it wasn't that fun. So, has a few, there's a recap. There's, to add context, just a few months back, somebody asked me about women and covering and all. And I have been someone who has always been decent and modest in my clothing. But I wouldn't say that there was ever any special intention behind it or special motive behind it. It was like I'm a Muslim by religion, and my clothing was just as good as some religious Christian. Like, it has always been modest. But when the other person asked me about that representation of women and all, it triggered me because I don't believe in that. But as I was triggered, I began to search about it. Being a scientific person, I even looked for scientific papers about man and woman and the visual representation and the reasons behind it, and why the man and woman thing is called as water and fire and cotton and even fire and oil. Why this combination is called as this. I even looked into the scientific researches that were carried out about man and woman and the perception of their facial beauty. And not so surprisingly, I guess, it was found that woman's face is more prone to be looked at by both male and females. And it was a research that was done after the incident where female resident doctor was violated and killed in India. So afterwards, I began to look into the verses that were referring to covering of women. And I've been brought up in a society that gives a lot of leverage to men. Like, wherever we see, it's all about men will be men, boys will be boys, forgiving men, forgiving boys. About movies where boys tease boys about being too open with opposite gender, and they take pride in that, in their even immodest interaction with the other gender. So I was used to of this sort of society and this sort of concepts, but when I read about what Islam had said, it was like before a call for women to be covered, it was about calling the men to lower their gaze. And there was a concept of men with chastity. And the more I read about the existence of human and references of that in Quran, the more I became receptive. Like, it was a book that was saying that the speaker of the Quran was saying that I know you since the time you were conceived, since the time you were even clay mold, since the time you were in your mother's womb. I know what will become of you. There was somebody who was saying that, leave everything on me and I will take care of it. Have faith in me. I know your destiny. I know your destination. So, to be honest, my inquisition, my questions about hijab, they went a little into the background. Something else surfaced. A connection with the speaker. The speaker bonded with me on a very different level. I wouldn't say that I have gotten grip of that relationship properly, but something has happened. Like the kind of relationship that you have with lovers, between lovers, like, you don't have to give reasons for everything you say sometimes. It's just understood. It's just faith. It's just a bond of trust. I think I got a seed for that in my heart, though I wasn't fully aware of that. I just read that and carried on. Cut to the part where I was at the wedding, and I'm in my 30s, and there were, as it was a wedding at home, there were family members and there were kids, like teens, in their teens or in their 20s, and I was extremely uncomfortable. I was just uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I was like there was a thing in the back of my mind that Allah forbids this. Allah doesn't like it. Allah would not have been liking it. It was in a very subtle manner. I wouldn't say that it was extremely pronounced. It wasn't that loud, but it was there. And eventually the host auntie, she noticed that I'm uncomfortable, and she asked me, and she said, like, it's a small home and small, like, if you have been to the Desi weddings, you know that the rooms are filled with people, and the yards and the corridors and everything is filled with people, and there are chapais and aunties and kids and all. And it wasn't very easy for her to find a room for me when I'm uncomfortable. So she said that these are just kids. And I said, yes, auntie, I know that these are kids. And just this unconsciously something slipped out of my mouth. And I said that I've recently just started a Quran class and I know these are kids, but I'm just uncomfortable. And then there was another auntie, and she said that our heart guides us and tells us the right thing, but we sometimes don't listen. And there was something about that auntie. And she asked me to sit with her, and I sat with her, and we continued talking with each other. And her words, they were mostly like, it was all prayers and understandings, and inner feelings of like the pure humbleness she had, the pure submission she had for Allah, that was quite visible in her every manner. And eventually it happened that we spent the whole time sitting together and talking about that. And can you expect that? And by the end of that, she actually, it was like, that there's a prayer like that we see in like religious events, like if there was a gathering of people with the intention of religious intentions. So I had seen it this way, that mostly there's a final prayers at such events. But unexpected, this was quite an unexpected thing, that after all those talks, she literally prayed for me, prayed for all of us, and like she was winding that whole thing up, and that made me feel so different. And people moved to the main stage, and we could hear the songs and all those festivities and the whole function in full swing, but we didn't move. And by the end I left without even visiting the stage, and she said, "I wish to meet you again, and I would love to see the places you would go." And it was a weird experience, I guess. I wasn't interested in my selfies. That's so rare, because on events I have always been interested in only taking my own pictures. But I wasn't. Even my heart was not in it. I wasn't even interested. Even when I got back, I was not interested in pictures. And the next day, I was supposed to go to the Barat, but I was trying really hard to mix and match my dress with some abaya, because to be honest, it was a little weird, more than weird. It was awkward the way I was holding on to my dupatta and trying to cover my face, making a makeshift niqab. It was a little awkward. So I thought maybe I should do it properly, like I should put on a hijab and a gown and maybe a face mask. But yeah, by the end of it, we didn't go because of some personal reasons. So this is what's happening in me. I hope that it leads to good things. It will lead to proper destination, my destination, the real destination. I hope that somebody someday will find it. Some weird person going through changes will someday find it. Maybe then we would be able to feel not so weird and feel not so left out and alone, I guess. To be honest, it's not the feeling of being alone. It's the feeling of being self-sufficient, like you don't need anyone. But you feel that you are not the same person. It's a change. You still feel that people will be calling you as a weird one. You still feel that you are now the odd one out, maybe the black sheep. But I guess I've stepped into self-sufficiency. I even don't know if that's a word, I've just said it. Anyways, I hope I would be able to update. I hope I would be able to reach the places Auntie wants to see me. I loved her. They're really amazing people that we find in unexpected places. So, that's all.